Hi guys, welcome to Waje's YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make this trendy, chic, simple dress with organza ruffle rows. It is quite easy. Let's get straight to it. So in this video, I'm making use of this 1.5 yard of silk fabric. You can use any fabric depending on your own preference, and then these 2 yards of organza fabric. So the first thing I'll be doing is to fold my fabric into 4 using my highest body measurement plus about 3 inches allowance. This is because we'll be cutting the front bodies and the back bodies together. And then please remember to press your fabric before cutting. This is just for illustration and it was not pressed. So here I've gotten my folded fabric and I added about 3 inches for ease. And then the next thing I'll be doing is to take my dress length plus about 1.5 inches allowance for hemming. And then on that point, I'll rule out a straight line which will serve as my starting line. This is where all my measurements would begin. Okay, so I'll just move this down a little so that it is visible enough. So the first thing I'll do is to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'm not adding ½ inch here, and then I'll come down by 1.5 for my shoulder slant and then mark my 3 inches to create my shoulder slant. After doing this, on this point I'll be taking my armhole measurement, which is gotten by dividing your bust by 6 and adding 1.5 to the result. There is a detailed tutorial on how to get your major body measurements on my YouTube channel. The link is in the description box. So now I've joined the lines of my armhole, and then the next thing I'll be doing is to mark my bust measurement divided by 4, get the midpoint of this line to create my armhole curve, come out by ½ inch on that point and use my curve rule to connect these points, that is the shoulder slant to the midpoint and then to my bust measurement divided by 4. After doing this, this is going to be my front armhole curve. Now for my back armhole, I'll just mark the midpoint there to the bust measurement divided by 4. Now after doing this, it's time to mark my neck measurement. For my front neckline, I'll be using a wideness of 3.5 inches and a depth of 4 inches. You can use 4.5 inches. Okay, I'll be using my free hand to connect these points together. And then remember that I have a tutorial on how to draft different necklines, so you can use any neckline of your choice. Now for the back, I'll be maintaining the wideness, of course, of the 3.5 inches because the wideness should be the same as the front bodies. And then the depth here is 2 inches, and then I connected it using my free hand. If you want to know how to draft different necklines, please see my description box. The tutorial is really detailed. Now up next, I'm marking my half length because we're not using underbust for this dress, as it is like a shift dress. After marking my half length, I'll go on to move this fabric upwards because we are going to the lower part of the dress now. Then after marking my half length, from that half length point, I'll mark my hip line, which is either 8 inches or 9 inches depending on your height. And then I'll just make these lines visible, that is my waistline or my half length and then my hip line. After doing this, it is now time to take in our horizontal measurement. Starting from the chest line, I've taken my bust measurement divided by 4. I'll go on to add 2 inches allowance for ease and then another ½ inch for joining the sides. On my waistline, I'll do the same thing, my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches and then ½ inch for ease. I'll repeat the same process on my hip line and add 2 inches and ½ for joining. Then on the hem line, I went on to mark the same measurement I had on my hip line on the lower part of the dress. After doing this, I'll go on to connect my lines like so. Then I went on to cut. I'll be cutting out my back pattern or my back piece first by cutting out the neckline and then the back armhole. Please make no mistake, cut out the back neckline and then the back armhole first. After doing this, I'll go on to open this because now we have 2 pieces, and now take out the inner part which will serve as my back piece of the dress, and then I went on to arrange my front piece again so that it aligns and it is properly arranged before going on to cut out the neckline. Thereafter, moving on to the armhole of the dress. So we are done cutting the dress itself. So this is what the front bodies look like. This is what the front piece of the dress looks like. This is the back piece of the dress. So when it is time to join, what we'll do is to make front sides or the right side of each piece face each other. Join the shoulders with ½ inch, tape or hem the neckline and the armhole line because it is sleeveless, and then join the sides. But before we go on, we would like to work with the front pattern first because of course that is where we'll be having our ruffle rows. So what I'll be doing is to mark my chest line. You can skip this part if you do not really understand this, but we are making the spiral rows on the front piece. So the first thing you'll be doing is to get a plain fabric of your choice. I'm still using a silk fabric here, and I started with marking out my starting line, okay, a straight line. Then from the side I'm trying to create the wideness of my circle of my round base, and I use 7 inches, and I'll be marking 7 inches all around that point just to form a curve. If you want to use a free hand or you want to make a smaller base, you can make use of 6 inches or 6.5, or you can make it bigger, 8 inches, but this is just ideal for me. After marking the same measurements all around, I connected the dots to form this beautiful circle. Okay, then after doing this, it will just go on to cut. So I was very careful about cutting because I wanted to maintain the round shape. So after cutting out, because we are going to be having a knit base, you have to make 2 of this. So you just place this front side facing the front side or right side facing the right side and repeat this cut. Now this is what you should have at the end of the day. So the next thing you'll be doing is to place the right side facing the right side and then mark about ½ inch. ½ inch because you'll be sewing it round using this same measurement, taking in ½ inch to turn, meaning that you'll be sewing ½ inch round but not to the end. Leave about 4 to 5 inches so that when you are done you can use it to turn it inward, that is inside out. So after doing this, this is what it looks like. After making my sewing, this is what it looks like. So you go on to create small notches around the curve area. I usually create notches so that it is easy for me to turn, and when I turn it over it will lay well. Now I'm going to turn this inside out like you see me do, using that open space we left earlier. After turning it inside out, this is what it looks like. So I'm just using my hand to tuck that part in, and I'm going to top stitch neatly. After top stitching, you see it is not so visible because it was very close to the edge. So this is what our circle looks like. The next thing we'll be doing is to create or mark a center point. This is where all our sewing will now lay on. So just watch me. I'm marking the midpoint of this circle. After marking the midpoint, I'm just going to use my free hand. You can decide to use your tape measure to create this round, this spiral around it till you get to the end. But I'm using my hand. I'm using the free hand here. Just make a curve like you see me do, using ½ inch as the distance. That the spacing between should not be more than ½ to 1 inch. So just create it around. Then after doing that, I brought out my organza fabric. I used 2 yards here, and then the first thing I'll be doing is to cut out straight lines. You can either use 7 inches or 10 inches depending on how wide you want it to be. Note that you'll be folding it into 2. So if you cut out 6, when you fold it you have 3 inches. So I cut out long lines of my organza, and then I went on to join. So I'll go on to join all of them by the edge before closing it like so and sewing it down using my sewing machine. And so I'm just going to sew down with about ½ inch or less all the way down. This is what it looks like. So I've brought back my base for this, but before we start sewing, for the edge you're going to tuck it in like you see me do so that we don't have any rough edges at the end of the day. So after tucking it in, you go on to start from the ending part of that spiral line you created or the curve. You see where it ends? You are going to pleat it all around following that line as a guide. So I'm using my pin here to just show you what it looks like, but we'll still go to the sewing machine. So you'll be pleating on the lines. So that's why you need a very long organza line so that it will be enough to go all around, although you can keep on joining before you get to the end of the organza. Okay, you can keep on joining if what you have is not enough, or you can decide to create smaller pleats. Okay, so now I've taken to my sewing machine and I want to go up a little. So I've closed the edge. So what I'm going to do now is to go up a little and start on this line. So what you're going to do is to start by double stitching. I just double stitch that part, and after doing this, I'll go on to pleat as I go. Pleat, because this is the only way you can create that ruffle. So I'm pleating and I'm trying to create just small pleats because I was trying to manage my ruffles here. Like I said earlier, you can make your organza wider. That is, you can make it 10 inches so that when you fold it, you have about 5 inches. You can go as high as you want. But I used about 7 inches here, and this is what I have. So right now, I am pleating along the line. Please note that the line we created was a guide. I'm following the line. I had to make this fast so that you don't get bored of the video. So I am pleating and I'm being careful following the lines, and you can see it's already coming out very well. You can see the ruffles forming already. And so we are close to the end of this spiral and then this ruffle we are creating. Now what to do here is to check how much you need to finish it up. So at the end of the day, I had excess of my organza, but that didn't matter. What I'll be doing now is to fold the remaining part in. Okay, but before then I reduced it a little and then I tucked in the edge so that it will still be neat, and then I folded it under like so. Just watch if you don't understand what I'm saying, and then just double stitch it. You can see how close rows is, no space in between, because we created the line and we followed that line as the guide. This is what it should look like. So yes, we are out of the sewing machine now, and this is what our ruffles look like. Beautiful, right? So we are not done, but we are close to being done. The next thing will be to place this ruffle on the front part. Yes, this is what the back side of the ruffle look like. So neat. So what you do is come down by about 3 inches from the neckline, and then you'll be sewing the base on the dress, not the organza itself. You can see I raised it up. I'll stitch it at different points on the front part of the dress before I will place my back pattern on it. Join the shoulders, tape the neckline and the armhole, and join the sides. Okay, so after doing this, this is what it looks like. So like I said, I did not sew on the organza. I just joined the base, that round base we created on the dress, and then I've gone on to use my bias tape. You can use anything to turn the shoulder. If you want to add sleeve to yours, please feel free, but I wanted mine to be sleeveless, and this is what it is looking like. And please note that you have to iron your fabric to give it a very neat and beautiful look. So I went on to join my sides. It's time to join the sides of the dress. Take in 1/2 inch while joining so that it is easy and it is free on you. Okay, I've done that now, and this is what the dress looks like already. You can see that we are almost done. So I'll be turning this inside out so that you see what it looks like. So I've turned this dress inside out, and then the last thing we'll be doing is to tape the lower part of the dress. Yeah, so remember that we left out about 1.5 inches as hemming allowance. This is what you'll be folding in. I'll first cut out the excess at the end and then fold it in like this all the way around. After folding it in, I'll press it and show you what it looks like. Voila! So you can see how neat and beautiful this is looking. It's a simple chic dress, and you can make it in different colors of your choice. Please give this video a thumbs up and kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done that. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye bye.